Viva the playoffs. I said after Leeds last week that if we didn't beat Hull, that top two's done. And to be consistent, I am standing by it. Top two's done for me. Games like that, you can't afford to be losing or really not winning, to be honest, if you're wanting to be aiming for the automatics. Look, I know don't get me wrong, I'm not entirely surprised by it, to be honest, because Hull went away to Sheffield United and won and were good value for the win that night. Maybe the score flattered them a little bit, but they were not bad that night and fully deserved all 3 points there. And I felt, to be honest, they deserved it here as well. I felt like Sunderland, I'll get on to Anthony Patterson in a minute, but yeah, for me, Sunderland just were not at the races again, and we were just really, really poor performance-wise. And I don't know what it is, but we just couldn't seem to get much of a rhythm. We were able to get some decent passes together, but when you actually look at it, I'm trying to think of how many clear-cut chances we actually created. I don't think we ended up having that many. I think there was one maybe in the in the second half. I think it might have been a header from Isidore that went just wide that you could argue probably should have scored. And apparently we had a Stonewall penalty turned down, but I don't know. I didn't see anything like that in the ground, but I need to look at it back, so it wouldn't surprise me. Knowing the officials in this league. And quickly on the officials in this league, the only thing I will complain about from an official's point of view is the amount of times Hull were allowed to keep on time wasting and were allowed to take about 20 seconds to take a goal kick, and then eventually their keeper got booked, and then he continues to allow them to do it, which is utterly mental. And that's not Hull's fault, by the way. If you're Hull, you're scrapping for points down there, left, right, and centre. If you get away with that, you do it. Simple as that. It's on the fault of the officiating to make sure that doesn't happen. That's why, for anyone who wonders why I'm in the ground, why I look like an idiot probably, is to why I tap my watch constantly, because I'm trying to make the point. Yes, it might not make any difference, but I don't really care. I'm trying to make the point that I am not happy with the amount of times you're allowing the opposition keepers to time waste. And some tosser at the end of it decided to have a go at me for that, because he was having a go at a kid for banging on the banging board as well. So if you're watching, mate, no, I'm not going to stop doing that because I want to win games. Anyway, I would say as well, as for Pato, let's get on to it. Like, I'm stand by the opinion. I think for me, Pato is a bang average championship keeper. I don't think he's any better or worse than that, to be honest. But he has got to be doing better here. I can kind of, to some extent, I can get the criticism of him for Leeds' winning goal on Monday night, because I felt like Struijk, I know there was a few Leeds fans who were telling me that were having a go at me in the comments for mispronouncing a name of all things. But yeah, he was partially at fault for that. But at the same time, I felt that was equally bad defending. There's nothing to do with the defending on this goal. It was absolutely criminal how he was able to just let the ball drop, and then it was an easy finish for Kyle Joseph, I think it was, who ended up scoring. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Kyle Joseph. And then from then, Sunderland just didn't get into the swing of things. They didn't get into a rhythm again, and this is the problem as to why I go on about not conceding goals, because you can't just you give the opposition something to hang on to, you get more frustrated, it affects your momentum going forward, and it's a lot harder. You having to then break them down at least twice without letting another goal in. So that's why I go on about the clean sheet, and say what you want about Burnley, for example, but when they go in front, 9 times out of 10, they win games. And yeah, so personally, the one thing that I personally wasn't a fan of and didn't approve of, not that many people are going to care, but as my channel, I can voice my opinion. In my opinion, I think it was a bit poor that when some fans ironically cheered or jeered Patterson when he ended up collecting a ball not long after the goal had been conceded, which personally for me, I can understand the frustration. You have every right to voice it, but for me personally, that doesn't help. That doesn't help things. I think as a fan base, we're better than that personally, but if you disagree with me, then that's totally fine. As long as you're respectful about it in the comments below, by the way. But yeah, for me, I'm not a fan of that, so I'm not going to lie. But either way, look, that didn't help things. But to be fair, Sunderland's performance didn't help things. And in the second half, we kind of just was a similar pattern to how the first half was going, where we struggled to break Hull down and create any meaningful chances, really. And from Hull's perspective, that's a great win. You can see why that they've got a better away record than home record. Personally, for me, I think there were elements of players going hiding a little bit today. I think that, I'm not saying they didn't try, by the way, but I think Hull wanted that a bit more than what we did, which I think is quite poor from our perspective, because our standards are much higher than that. But there you go. Look, top two for me is absolutely done now. And unless some miracle where Burnley and Sheffield United turn into 17-18 Sunderland for the last 2 months, it's just not happening, unfortunately. So I think the main thing we've got to make sure we can get now is try and at least get 4th place secured. And because we have still had a very good season so far, we can't overlook that just because of today's performance being dreadful, as poor as it was, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it wasn't good enough. And for the next 2.5 months, I think the good thing is, Lafay came off with a hamstring injury. Shock. Of course he did. Of course we have to start getting big injuries again. Mundell came back, which was at least a decent thing. And you can tell how much we've missed a left-sided player on the going forward. So that's going to be momentum. Hopefully we can get some momentum and legs into them. And same with Tommy Watson when he comes back. Once we get them back for the playoffs, hopefully by that point we'll be more into the swing of things and we can really start to kick on. So, right, I'm going to start. People shouting around all around the place in the town centre. No, so yeah, let's just. I think I might go and start booking my hotel for May the 24th, and then probably cancel it if we're losing the semi-finals. Who knows? But anyway, guys, I love you and leave you there. I had to re-record this video because I was a bit somber in the first one because it's been a year since my uncle passed away, and it's been Sunderland could have been bothered to turn up on the day that he died, anniversary of the day he died, but there you go. Anyway, guys, I love you and leave you there. Trying to get a 6K, as you all know. So if you're watching the video, you're not a regular subscriber, and you're watching and you think I've earned it, hit the sub button, like, comment, and respectfully comment. Share the video around, be much appreciated. And yay, on to Sheffield Wednesday. And if we underestimate Sheffield Wednesday, I know they lost 4-0 last night, but they were all over Burnley until the first goal, so we can't take them lightly. But let's hope a much better result and performance for Sunderland. Away the lads.